Hello everyone, it's Shayna here. Happy New Year's Eve. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Although we do nothing on New Year's Eve, we just stay home and enjoy a glass of wine and chill and talk about the year and the future and all that good stuff, but still exciting. So I'm just gonna give everybody a minute to jump on, and I am just checking because I'm using a brand new feature. Hello over there on Instagram. Hey everybody on Facebook. And I am just checking to make sure that I am live in my Facebook group, and it's not there yet. So I'm gonna go over here and just make sure that that's happening. So welcome everybody. If you're just joining me here, please say hello. Let me know you're here. And while I'm just getting this set up, I would love for you guys to share in the comments, what is something that you learned in 2018? Okay, so I'm just gonna share this video really quickly as I'm here live with you guys. Technology, I love it. Okay, so if you can share in the comments just one thing that you learned in 2018 while I go ahead and share this video into my group. It should be sharing automatically, but it was not happening, so here we go. Awesome. So if you're just joining me here, let me know you're here, say hello as I'm getting all set up. Okay, so welcome everybody. My name is Shayna Recker, and I am a network marketing professional. I'm a six-figure-a-year network marketing professional. I've been doing that for 8 years. I'm also a business and mindset coach, and I specialize in helping those people who have an online business idea that they want to bring to life, but they have no idea how to do that. So I help those people bring those ideas to life and help them build those businesses, get through all the obstacles, the technical, the software, all that kind of good stuff. And so on my journey through the last year, I have learned a lot of things this past year. I don't know about anybody else, but I find 2018 was a year of like shifting into a new place. Like I feel like there was a lot of change. I know for us, there was a lot of change, and there was a lot of almost like letting go and setting up. I don't know about you guys, but I really felt that in 2018. And in that process of letting go and setting up, I've learned a lot of lessons financially, professionally, and personally. And that's what I wanted to share with you guys here today. As I was thinking about this question of like, what did I learn last year? Like, I just kind of felt like, what did I learn this year? And I almost, for the first, few minutes of thinking about it, I was like, I don't really know what I learned. And as I kept thinking about it, more things kept popping into my head. I was like, oh yeah, we went through that. Oh yeah, I freaking learned that lesson. That wasn't fun. Different things like that. So I just thought, you know what? I need to write all this down, and I need to share this because my hindsight, the things that I learned, could help you have a better 2019, because the way we learn is by going through these obstacles. So if I can share some of the things that I went through, they hopefully will help you so that you can avoid going through those same things that I went through, or just learn from them in general, or try different things that I did. So I'm going to share with you, there's 3 different topics: financial, professional, and personal. And within each of those topics, I have 1 to 2 things that I learned in each of those. So if you're a note taker like me, grab a pen and paper. If you know somebody that needs to hear this as you're listening to it, please feel free to tag them in the comments. I don't think you can do that on Instagram, but you can definitely do that on Facebook. And invite them into the group. This is also live on my business page, so if you tag them, they'll be able to see it right away. So if you're going through this, if you have questions about the things that I've learned, please ask them as we're going, and we're gonna have some fun. So I'm excited to share these things with you. Okay, so let's talk about financial first, because that's a big one, right? I don't know about you guys, but we had a lot of big financial lessons this past year. And not all of it was fun, but it has definitely shifted. And so the first lesson that I learned when I look back at 2018 around finances and around wealth and around success is that wealth and success, it's a state of being. It's not stuff, okay? And this was a big one for me because, you guys, before this past year happened, I was somebody, and I would say this is even probably this past year, maybe even the year before, I was somebody who felt like I was only successful, or I was only worthy if I had the things that I thought wealthy people had. So if I had the right handbag, or if I had the right clothing, or if I had the right house, or if I lived in the right neighborhood, that was proof to myself and everybody else that I was successful, that I was, that I had achieved something. I thought my success showed up in what I had, and that's one of the biggest lessons that I learned over this past year, was that success and wealth is not in the stuff. It's in how you feel. It's in how you, when you wake up in the morning, if you feel good about yourself, if you feel good about where you are, if you're happy, that to me is where the success and the wealth is. It's not in whether I have the right handbag or the right shoes, or if I live in the right neighborhood. Because to be honest, I lived in the neighborhood. I had some of the things. And you guys, in that time in my life, I was the most unhappy person, because we didn't have the finances to really keep up with that. We were struggling to try and, keep up with a lifestyle that we weren't ready for yet. And in my mind, I felt like that's what I had to do in order to prove to people that I was successful. And so in that process, what I learned was I was spending money on things that I didn't necessarily need. And in the spending of the money on those things, I wasn't leaving myself the money to live life in a way that was less stressful, where we didn't have tons of debt. And so I made notes and I haven't even looked at them yet. So in that process, you guys, this past year, some of you guys, this is on one of my podcasts, and if you watch my podcast, you will have seen this, or if you listen to my podcast, you'll have heard this. My husband and I went through a big transformation in 2018 financially. We actually sold our big home. We sold the cars we weren't using. We literally basically had to get rid of everything we had in order to learn that lesson. In getting rid of the big house, even though we loved living there, we loved the neighborhood, we loved the space, it was stressful on us. And in order for us to realize that that's not where the wealth and the success and the feelings of feeling, fulfilled were, we had, in order for us to recognize that that's not where it was, we had to get rid of it all. We literally sold everything. We rented a house, we downsized everything, and it was in that we realized that those other things didn't matter, that those other things weren't important, that what was important is that we woke up every day healthy, that we had choice, that we had our kids, that life was actually really good even without all the stuff. Now, that's not to say that I don't like the stuff. I do love having a nice handbag and living in a nice house and all of those things, but I want to do it when I can easily afford it. And you guys, at the beginning of the year, that wasn't where I was. We made a lot of transitions. We learned a lot of lessons. And today we are actually living in what I would call our dream house. We have totally made some major shifts in our thinking around what's important and what wealth is. And we are actually becoming more abundant today after making those shifts than we've ever been. We actually just completed our biggest month financially. Between my husband and I, we're both entrepreneurs, this past month, and it wasn't, and there's I don't have a brand new Louis Vuitton handbag and all those things, right? Like, so I feel successful even when I'm not with all of those things. I hope that makes sense. And one of the things that we did in this time was we learned to become grateful for even just the little things, right? Just even having the smallest thing to be grateful for. In times of big stress, when we were selling our house and all of those things, going through credit issues and all this stuff, we were grateful for just waking up in the morning. We were grateful that we had enough to pay for, whatever it was we had to pay for that day. We were grateful for the little things. And we found a lot of gratitude in that. And that was one of the big things that we learned this past year, is that success is a state of being. It's not tied to what kind of house you're living in, all the things, all the stuff, right? And so in letting go of that, we've really grown and expanded, and we are actually moving in a more abundant way than we ever have before. So I hope that made sense. So that was lesson number 1. Lesson number 2 financially for me, and this was a big one for me, was that my inner self image of who I was or who I am was controlling my bank account. So let me explain. So what I come to realize this year, I did a lot of mindset work with awesome mindset coach. Her name is Danielle. If you're looking for somebody to help you with your mindset, you can message me or DM me or put something in the comments. I have a special link that you can talk to Danielle. But she helped me a lot this year, figuring out who my self-image was and how that was affecting my success. Because my self-image personally, the lesson that I learned is that the self-image I had was the girl I was growing up. So I was really connected to the girl I was growing up. And so I was brought up in a home that we were not wealthy at all. My mom struggled to make ends meet. Money was there was never enough money. My mom had to work really hard in order to get food on the table and all the things. And so my self-image of who I was the girl who never had enough. I was the girl who we always struggled to have money. I was the girl who, just if I wanted money, I had to work hard. I had to grind it out in order to make it happen. And so that upbringing that I had became the self-image that I had of myself. So in the times where I was making the most money that I ever made in my career, we're talking I was making multiple 5 figures in a month, I was spending it as fast as I was making it because my self-image was I was somebody who struggled with money. And so I came to realize that through this mindset work that's who I was seeing myself as. And so as I was earning money and shifting into this new place, if you think of your self-image like a thermostat. So for me, my thermostat was set to 70 degrees, right? That's the place where, I was struggling. Money's not really there. That's just kind of where my comfort zone was. Because here's the thing, even though I grew up struggling, that is a comfort zone for my self-image. That's a place where I feel safe, even though it's not an ideal place to be. That's something you got to connect with your self-image. So as I realized my self-image was connected to that girl who grew up stressed and didn't have any money, as I was making money, making more money than I'd ever made, I was spending it as fast as I could to bring myself back to that place. I was self-sabotaging myself in multiple areas of my life so that I didn't have the finances, that I couldn't see myself internally as somebody who was wealthy. And so as I was earning this money, I was sabotaging the success of it because it didn't feel comfortable to me. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. If you guys can relate to that, Lisa's on. Hi, Lisa. Jason's on here, my husband. I know he can relate. So those things, that self-image work that I did this past year, the lesson for me was, holy crap, I'm never going to be to the financial place that I want to be if I don't start fixing and correcting the self-image that I see for myself internally. Beth can totally relate to this. Right? So I had to look inward and go, who do I think I am? And how do I want to change? How do I want to really show up? And so with Danielle's help and some work through this program that I'm doing, I really got to dig deep on my own personal self-image. And so I learned that that's who I saw myself as, and I had to do the work to change that. And I did a lot of journaling around I still do it around who I see myself as. It's a lot of repetition. It's a lot of awareness. It's a lot of, saying to myself the different things about myself. And I know that stuff seems woo-woo-y, but it does work. It does change. I do have a shift in how I see myself now. And as I'm shifting who I see myself as, I can see the abundance starting to come in, and I can see and feel myself being okay with it. So my temperature has gone up, right? So I was at 70, now I'm at 75. I'm comfortable now having money in the bank. I'm comfortable seeing that it's there. I don't feel like I have to race out and spend it, right? So because I'm shifting that self-image of who I see myself as, and it's not the poor kid I used to be growing up. And so it's taken some work and it's taken some help with Danielle, but in that work, it's really helping me see myself in it, become a different place. So that lesson is I'm not the person. I realized that I'm sabotaging my own success based on my own personal self-image, right? It is challenging to shift your identity away from your comfort zone. You're right, Heather. It is very challenging, and that's where the repetition comes in. Repetition over and over and over, telling yourself. Your self-talk is huge. What you journal about yourself, seeing yourself in those pictures, like in your mind, seeing yourself, visualizing yourself as that wealthy person. What does that look like for you? Feeling yourself in abundance, feeling yourself, seeing the money in the bank and feeling good about it. Having that stuff that you're going through over and over and over again is huge, right? So that was a huge lesson for me. So for you guys, for this year, have you ever thought about who your internal self-image is? Like, who is that person? And is there something about that person that could be sabotaging your success? Because I had no clue until this past year and doing the mindset work that I was doing that even was a thing. And so when I connected the dots on that, it was like, holy shit, like I gotta make some fast changes or else I'm going to be spinning my wheels every single year trying to get ahead, and it's not going to work because I'm going to keep sabotaging my success. So that was a big one financially, was realizing that my inner self-image was sabotaging my chance of success. It was controlling my bank account. It was controlling the money that we had in the bank. It was controlling the money that I earned. And I was spending it faster than I could. So those are the two financial ones that I learned this year. Those are the two big ones. Now I'm going to move into professional, so business. So these were the 3 lessons that I learned this past year for my business. Number 1, professionally, I learned that I needed to trust myself more, to stop overthinking the ideas that come to my head. So one of the things that started, one of the way that I learned this lesson was this past November. I had an idea. I wanted to do a masterclass to teach my following, my community, about the science behind achieving your goals. If you guys were on that masterclass, high five, hands, whatever, say something in the comments. That masterclass was an idea that I had, was I wanted to teach the science, the universal laws around achieving what you wanted in life, your goals. And for the longest time, I put that off because I kept having this self-sabotaging thought of, who wants to know that? That stuff sounds woo-hooey. People want to know, tactical things and all that stuff. And I kept saying to myself, no, this is good stuff. You know this, like you're learning this. This is good stuff, Shayna. People need to know these things. And I felt like, oh no, people want to know tactical stuff. And anyways, I finally just trusted my gut and I did the masterclass and I put it out there, right? And I thought, screw it. I'm going to do it because I'm feeling compelled to do it. I'm passionate about it. It makes me feel good. So I trusted my gut and I did that masterclass. And it was so much fun. It was amazing. I had so many people message me about breakthroughs that they had. There was almost 200 people in the class. It was so well received. And so what I learned through that process was that I need to trust that the ideas and the thoughts that I'm getting for a reason, and that I need to follow through with them, right? Because oftentimes I'll doubt myself and go, oh, well, I don't see that, person doing this kind of stuff. And well, she's not talking about that, so maybe I shouldn't. Or this is what she's doing, so maybe I should do more stuff like that. Like, fuck all that shit. I need to do what feels right for me. Trust my gut. Do what I think my friends, my people, my community want to hear, and follow that, because that's your inner voice guiding you, right? Telling you where you need to go. And so I learned that this like no more of second guessing my thoughts and ideas, right? If I have an idea to do something and I feel really compelled to do it and I'm feeling pushed, I'm doing it. And if people love it, awesome. If they don't, it doesn't matter. I just need to follow my gut and trust myself. The other thing I needed to trust myself is, fuck all that, guys. Like, seriously, trust your gut. Heather says, oh my God, I love you a little more now that you've said that. Good. The other thing is to trust myself, is that I started this business wanting to give network marketers advice and tips. And that's what I thought I had to do because that's what I was good at the time. And then I built this business. And as I've been building this business, I've realized that I really love teaching people how to build an online business, because network marketing is great. I love my network marketing career. I absolutely am so grateful for it. It has brought me so much to my life. But I don't love teaching people how to do network marketing. I really don't. And so in this past year, I've had this realization that that isn't where I want to go. I want to teach people how to have online businesses, to be able to do this kind of stuff and teach people using the online space. And so I've had to trust myself in knowing that that change in direction is going to be okay. That there's a lot of network marketers that follow me who want to build an online business outside of their network marketing business. They'll stay. If those that are looking for specific, exact network marketing stuff, you're going to see a shift in what I'm doing because it doesn't feel right to me. So I'm trusting my gut and making these changes because I know that this is where I need to go. This is what I need to do. This is what I'm feeling compelled to do. So I need to trust myself more professionally, and that's what I've learned. Okay, so, and when you trust yourself and you listen, you guys, it brings clarity. It brings so much clarity. My messaging was mushy for about 4 months in my business because I wasn't being honest with myself. I wasn't being truthful. I wasn't listening to my gut. And in the listening to my gut and starting to do what felt right for me and trusting myself, my messaging started to get clear. The way I wanted to move forward started to be crystal clear for me. And I started doing the things. And now it's really coming together. So trusting yourself. Okay, professionally, this is the other thing, and I recently just did this one, you guys, is I know that if I'm going to be the big business, the online influencer, if I'm going to be up there with the Lewis Howes and the Chris Harders and all the people that I look up to, right? I need to start acting as if I'm already at that level. So one of the things I've done in December, I hired a virtual assistant. I have 2 virtual assistants actually. I have an awesome girl, Kelty, who helps me with my podcast. And I just hired a new awesome assistant, Shelly, who is helping me with all kinds of stuff. I'm letting go. I'm delegating, right? I'm delegating. I hired an assistant in November and December and January to help me with my social media because that's what those people do, right? They have people, they have teams. And I'm like, if I'm going to be that person, I got to start acting that way. I got to start putting my shit together like they do, right? No more trying to do it all myself because I don't think I should invest. I need to invest in my business in order to make it grow. That's what they do. That's what I'm doing, right? So I'm acting as if I'm already in the place, in the space that I need to be, right? I'm getting the right things in line. I got business insurance. Hadn't had business insurance because I didn't know I needed it. So I'm starting to do the research. What do I need to have in place if I'm going to have a multi-million-dollar business with clients and programs and all the things? So putting those pieces in place. So professionally, I've learned that that's what I need to do. And when you do those things, you grow to those levels, right? So when you're looking at 2019, what do you need to put into place to be at the level that you want to be, right? Think about that. Use my hindsight. I should have done this 2 years ago. I should have done this for sure when I started my business. Started acting as if the moment I walked out the door. But I didn't because I was afraid. I wasn't sure. Should I invest in that? I don't know, right? Fuck that shit. There, I said it again. This is where I'm going. And if this is what I need to have in place, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, right? So here we go. So I got business insurance, I hired assistants, I'm showing up the way that I need to. The third thing professionally that I am doing in my business, you guys, is I am hiring people. Now this is kind of the same as number 1, but I don't have to do everything on my own, right? I don't have to know how to do everything all by myself. I'm a control freak, I know it, and I need to let go of that. Professionally, if I'm going to grow, I need to let go of the things that are not my forte. I need to let others take those things on for me. So I don't have to know how to do everything. I can hire people to help me with that stuff. And so that was a big lesson because up until this moment, you guys, up until I hired, some people just recently, I was doing it all on my own, thinking I had to figure it out all on my own. I did hire some business mentors, last year and when I first got started, and that was great to bounce ideas off of, but actual people to help put plans in place, I didn't have any of that. I was just figuring it out. I was throwing the spaghetti at the wall, just hoping for the best. So now I have people to help me do the things that I'm trying to accomplish. So professionally, I needed to trust myself. I needed to show up as if I was already the big business that I already knew that I wanted to be. And I needed to, I learned that I didn't have to know how to do everything. I could hire the right people to help me figure out the things that I'm just not so great at. And so moving into 2019, I know that even just those 3 things professionally are going to take my business to 5 levels from where I am right now. And so think about that in your own business. What can you do to prepare yourself for that big business that you want to have? What do you need to have in place? Where do you need to trust yourself a little bit more, right? Where do you need to start taking those ideas and start, rolling with them versus pushing them aside because you're worried about what other people are going to think? We don't have time for that. We don't have time to worry about what other people are going to think, right? How fast did this year go? 2018 went like that. I started this business in 2016. It's almost 3 years old. 3 years. And I feel like I just started it yesterday. If I'm going to make these things happen, if I'm going to have this big business, I don't want to have it 10 years from now. I want to have it in 2 years, 1 year, by the end of 2020. I would love to be at that level. So if I'm going to be there, I need to start doing more of these things. So that was a big lesson for me. Start playing big. Stop playing small. Okay, personally, last one. Personally, what have I learned personally this year? Number 1, I learned personally, law of attraction. You guys, this shit works when it's done right. This year, I manifested I've manifested a lot of things in my life through visualization and journaling, all the things. And I'm pretty much a believer. But this past year, I manifested something pretty big. And I know that it is through the law of attraction that I am sitting in this house that I am today. I'm going to tell you guys the story here in a second. Because the way that it all worked out, the only way that this house is ours is because I manifested it to a T. And I'll explain. We knew we needed a new house. We were renting a house. It was too small for us. It was just an interim place for us to land our shit so that we could figure out what we were doing and find our next house. We live in a neighborhood. It's not a very big neighborhood, but it's the neighborhood where my youngest son, his school is. We love the school. We don't want to change school. So we were trying to find a home in this neighborhood that we could rent because we had to rent, right? Because we've been through some shit. Renting was the only option for us. We have 3 kids, a dog, 2 entrepreneurs that work from home. So we needed a special kind of house. We needed a house that was going to accept a dog. Well, one that was for rent, would take a dog, had 2 spaces for offices, had at minimum 4 bedrooms, and had a yard that we could put a dog in. Okay, this is not something that comes up very often in this neighborhood. I wrote about the house that I wanted. There was actually a specific house that my husband and I actually wanted, and we'd actually even been through it. But the thing is, it was for sale. It wasn't for rent. And we had walked through that house and we were like, this house would work for us. It's got all the things, minus a couple things, but it had pretty much all the things. And I started journaling about this house. I'm like, they're not gonna sell it. They're gonna realize that they need to rent it to us. Like, I was journaling about the house. I could see my furniture in the house. I could see, like, I was visualizing about this house every day. I was like, it was done deal in my mind. But here's the thing with the universe. The universe will deliver you what you ask for or something better. Okay? When you're using the law of attraction and you're putting it out there what you want, the universe will deliver what you want or something better. So when I was journaling about this house, one of the things that bothered me about it is that the 4th bedroom, which would be for my teenage son, was going to be down this hallway, this big long hallway. It was kind of like a coach house off of the main house. And it was this space that would have been an office on the bottom, and up top it would have been my son's bedroom. And it was like 2 rooms. So it was kind of cool because he could have a bedroom and then a room for him to do his like video games and whatever. But what bothered me was the fact that it was so far off the main house. But it was what we thought we wanted. So I was journaling about this house. You guys, the last probably like it was I don't know, it was August or September. Out of nowhere, well, it seemed like out of nowhere, a house comes up on the MLS, the real estate thing, and I happened to see it. I didn't think anything of it. I thought it was a student house. I wasn't going to message. I finally said to Jason, I'm like, I don't know, I'm feeling compelled. I think we should go look at this house. It was for rent. It's the only house for rent in the entire neighborhood. And we walked through this house, you guys. It is 4 bedrooms, 2 office spaces, open concept. It has a yard for the dog. And upstairs on the 3rd level is a loft, which has 2 rooms, which is my son's room, my son's area. It has a room for his bedroom and a room for his gaming. Like, I literally manifested the exact house that I thought that I wanted, only it came in a different form. And actually, this house is way better. It is in the school district. It has all the things. We are in love with this home. And the fact that this was available, you guys, like, that just wasn't a coincidence. I journaled about this house for a good month and a half, 2 months. It was way better. You're right, Lisa, it was way better. And I know that was a long story to tell you this, but I want you to know that law of attraction, you guys, it works if you do it right. And to do it right, you need to get a journal, and you need to journal about what it is you want. What does it look like? You need to get so detailed. You need to get emotionally involved. When I was writing about that house, you guys, I could see myself in the house. I was so emotionally attached to the feeling of a home that fit our family and had all the things we wanted. It actually makes me a little emotional. I was so involved with that vision. And I wrote about it every night before I went to bed. I would visualize the house as I was falling asleep. And even though we didn't get that exact house, I'm telling you, the universe delivered us something better. I don't know if you've watched any of my live videos or any of my Insta stories, but I show you the backyard of the house we're in. It is phenomenal. It doesn't have, the house I was looking at didn't have this kind of yard. It was incredible. The wild animals that are back there, it's amazing. So law of attraction works when it's done right. So use that to your advantage in 2019. What do you want? Write about it. Get emotionally involved with it. See it in your mind. Visualize it. And do it consistently every single day, over and over and over again. You have no idea how long it's going to take for your desire to manifest. You just have to trust that it's going to. I just trusted that it was going to work. I just trusted that we were going to get the house. And it just all came together. Right? So it's crazy how amazing that works, but you have to be consistent. You have to see it. You have to put emotion to it. So you have to feel it. And then you have to have trust and faith that it will work out. And it did. And those of you guys who've been to my house, Lisa's been to my house, so she says you have the best view. So here's the other thing. So this is the second lesson I learned personally. And this is kind of tied to visualizing and journaling and picking out your goals for 2019. So I'm so happy that you guys are staying with me on this. I know this is a longer one today, but I just really wanted to do this because I know this is gonna help you in 2019, get the things that you want in life. So the other thing that I learned was that I used to journal about, now this is before the house, I used to journal and write the things that I wanted in my life. But what I used to do was I used to try and figure out how. I used to journal about what I wanted, but then I would start going into details on how I was going to make that happen. And part of the work that I did with my mindset coach, Danielle, was learning about the art of visualizing and manifesting. And part of that work, I learned that we don't need to know how, okay? So I had to stop figuring out how these things were going to come into my life. It's not our job to know how we're going to get the things we want. Our job is to know, what do we want? What does it look like? What does it feel like? So whatever your business goal is for 2019, okay, maybe you want to be at the top rank of your company, or maybe you want to start a company. Maybe you want to, build this brand new online business. you don't need to know all the things. You don't need to know all the details about how you're going to make that thing happen. What you need to know is, what does it look like when it's all done? What does it look like when you're there? What does it look like when you're having your best year ever? What does it feel like? Did you hit this rank? What was it like when you earned that rank? Did you earn a trip? Was there something that came with it? What does it feel like to be there already done? I'm helping my husband right now build an online course, or helping him build his business, which part of that is an online course. Part of it is a mastermind group. I'm helping another friend do that. And it's like, it's looking at the business with all the clients already there, seeing the sales of the course already happening. You don't need to know how you're going to put the course out there. You don't need to know all the funneling and all the things. You'll figure that stuff out. Knowing what you want and getting emotionally involved with that goal, when you're there, the thoughts and feelings and things, it's going to trigger the how. You don't need to know and figure out all the how right now. You just need to know what you want. And then when you know what you want, you'll start to get the thoughts, the ideas, the people, the circumstances will start to come into your life. You'll attract them in. And then you'll figure out the how as you go. So I was always journaling and writing about all the how. I was always writing like, okay, well, this is what I want. Okay, so I'm going to have to, sign these 3 people in, and I'm going to have to do this thing, and I'm going to have to do that. And then, and that was actually ruining it. Lisa Bandman says, isn't that freeing to not have to know the how? I was ruining the whole process by trying to figure out how I was going to get all these things. That I don't need to worry about. I just needed to know what I wanted. And when you let go of the how, because here's what I do know. How you think you're going to get the thing you want is probably not how it's going to happen. This house is an example. I didn't know how this house was going to come into my life. It just did, right? I didn't have to figure it out. I just knew I wanted it. And then the steps showed themselves, right? So keep focused on the goal, not the how. And that was a big lesson for me last year. So when you're journaling, you're manifesting, you're writing, you're doing your vision boards, put all the things you want on there, but don't get caught up in how they're going to happen. If you want them bad enough and think about them consistently enough and put emotion to them, the how is just going to happen. Okay? Lots of stuff here, you guys. I need to take a breath. Woo! Okay, I've learned a lot this past year. It's so funny because when I first started thinking about this topic, I was like, I don't really know what I learned this past year. I'm not sure. Man, I could just keep going all day. Okay, so the last thing that I'm going to share with you guys in what I learned personally in 2018, actually I got 2 more. Hang with me, I got 2 more because they're both really good. Is I starting to let go. I really learned about letting go of what no longer serves me. Okay, this can be tough, right? You hear this all the time. Let go of what no longer serves you. It's harder than it sounds. It's hard to unfollow people on Facebook. Oh my gosh, what if they know I don't follow them? What if I leave this group? Are they going to notice? But here's what I know. I am way too distracted when I go on. I need social media to do my work. I need to have Facebook. I need to have Instagram. These are tools I use for my business. And in order for me to stay focused and get done what I need to do, I need to let go of a whole bunch of shit on those platforms so that I can get in and get out without being super distracted and also playing the comparison game, right? How many of you guys go online and then before you know it, you've spent 25 minutes going down a rabbit hole of stuff and feeling like bad about yourself because you're looking at what everybody else is doing, and then you realize 20 minutes, 30 minutes in, you haven't even done the thing you needed to do, right? So what I did, especially now, this is something I just did over the last couple of days, is I started unfollowing anything that wasn't serving me anymore. I removed myself from groups that I was not even, like, if I was going through my feed and I saw a post from a group that I'm like, what is this group? Why am I in here? This isn't relevant. I left the group. Every time I was seeing that kind of stuff that was distracting me, or I wasn't feeling, it wasn't inspiring me, I let go. And I had to, because I get way too distracted on these things. I have big plans this year, you guys, big plans. And I know after this whole year of working my business, like being online and being distracted and trying to be in every group and trying to compare my business and what I'm doing to what she's doing and what he's doing. And I should be in this group. I should be watching what she's doing. I should be making sure that I'm doing what she's doing. again, I'm going to say it, but fuck that shit. I need to do what I feel I should do, not what they're doing. I'm not comparing. If this feels right, then I'm going to do it. If it doesn't feel right, I'm out. Yes, Laura says here on Instagram, feel like decluttering your wardrobe. It totally feels like that. It feels freeing to go onto Facebook now and seeing only the positive posts that I know I love and not having to push through clutter and all the things. And please, if I have unfollowed you, don't be offended. It has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with me. I'm trying to stay focused. I get distracted by looking at your pictures of your kids and your dogs because they're cute. And I want to see things, and I will check those things every once in a while, but not every day in my feed. But I found for me, the biggest thing the hardest thing was the comparison, right? Was the comparison part. And that was the thing that I really needed to let go of in 2018, was unfollowing the people that I was comparing myself to, and then feeling bad about myself and my business because I wasn't doing what they were doing, or their life was better than mine, or, oh, that post they did was awesome, I should post something like that. No, post what feels right for you. Do what feels right for you. You were given this idea, you were given this business for a reason. The ideas and the things that are being brought into your mind are there because that's what you're supposed to be doing, not what other people are doing. So for me, that was a huge lesson. I also removed myself from some calls. I have all these calls that I'm supposed to be on for both my businesses, and I can't, there were some things that were just saying to me, my inner voice was saying, you've got to clear the clutter. You've got to stay focused. So what isn't serving you right now? Who isn't serving you right now? Remove those things, right? Building an online business, building a brand, building, this kind of stuff, it takes insane focus and clarity. And I can't do it. For me, I can't do it with all these distractions. So I really had to pull away from a lot of that stuff. So that was it. And one last one, you guys, before I wrap up. Kimberly says, yes, me too. Totally had to hit the unfollow button several times. Yes. And the cool thing is on your Facebook, if you unfollow a couple of people on your Facebook using your phone, there's a thing that pops up that allows you to quickly unfollow. So just a little tip. I think if you just unfollow one or two people, it says, hey, looks like you're wanting to clean up your friends list or something, and it pops up, and then you can just tap on the profile pictures and it allows you to unfollow really quickly. Just a little tip. Okay, so the last one, you guys, and this is a doozy. It's a good one. Personally, is I've learned this year how am I going to say this? The point I wrote down is to stop listening to the stories in my head. So one of the things that I learned how to do this past year was distinguish between what is a real story I'm telling myself and what is bullshit story that I'm telling myself. So for instance, what I'm making up. So for instance, I might see that somebody didn't reply to a message that I sent. Let's just use that as an example. And the story that goes on in my head is, oh my God, she saw my message. She was totally offended by what I said, or maybe I've upset her. Oh, I didn't say that the right way. Geez, you know what? Maybe I should reply back to her and just say, oh my gosh, I totally didn't mean it that way. And before you know it, I've told myself a huge made up story about why somebody isn't replying to a message that I sent. And meanwhile, none of it's true. I've made up a whole story about it. I'm ready to send a reply as if she's already replied back to me pissed off, but she's not. She just is busy. She just hasn't checked her phone. Maybe her son had her phone. Who knows what? But if you hear what I'm saying and you can relate, give me a heart or a thumbs up or a something, right? Kimberly says, I think we are twins. It's so true, right? And so we tell ourselves all these stupid ass stories that don't serve us because we think that that's what's going on. And so what happens is we end up wasting time feeling anxious and upset when we don't need to. And guess what? When we feel anxious and upset, guess what we're doing? We're putting negative energy out into the world. Guess what we're getting back? Negative, negative, negative. What you put out comes back to you. So I've learned the stories still happen. Don't get me wrong. If you can figure out a way to stop the stories completely, like you got $1 million idea there. The stories still happen. Where I've gotten good, or where I've started to learn, is to stop and question the story. Shayna, is that real? Do you know that for sure? Did she really feel that way? And a lot of times what I do, because my husband's great at this, because he doesn't, I don't know, guys are different. They just don't have stories, I guess. I don't know how it works for men. But I can go to him and say, okay, so this happened. This is how I'm thinking about it. This is what I think's going on. Am I being irrational, or is this like, do you think that there's some truth to that? And he'll be like, you really think that that's what she's doing, or that's what she's saying, or that's what's happening? And I'll be like, you're right. I had a total story. Okay. And I let it go, right? And the cool thing is that when you recognize the story, you have the choice to change it, right? You can say, that's not true. She just lost her phone, or her kid has her phone, and she'll message me back as soon as she sees it. And sure enough, you get a message back and she's like, hey, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I had a reply. I forgot to hit send. And then you're like, see, story was bullshit. I should have just, I wasted all that time for nothing, right? So let go, or learn. I've learned to distinguish between what's real and what's a story. And most of the time, it's a story. So just be aware. Awareness is key, you guys. And so in going into 2019, I want you to question the stories. I want you to question, is that real? Is that thought that I'm having on that particular thing, is this real, or is this a story? Is this my ego trying to make me sabotage something? Or is this really how I truly feel it's going to happen, right? And I want you to be aware of the amount of time and how much your energy shifts. Because when you go into those negative stories, you guys, it shifts your energy into a shitty place. And that shitty energy just attracts shitty situations. And you don't want that. So don't spend any time on those stories. Just let them be until you know the real truth. And then deal with it. We need to learn to respond, not react, right? Listening to those stories and sending a message because that's what you think is true is reacting. That's scarcity, right? We need to trust and have faith. And when we hear the right, real story, or whatever's the real situation, then we can respond, right? Take the time, be calm, send a response, or do a response versus just freaking out and listening to the story. Okay, you guys, I hope that there was some nugget of wisdom that you got out of this lesson today. And I'm doing this solely because I wanted to. I am not here to sell you anything. I'm not asking you to sign up for anything or do anything. I thank for those new people who came into the group to hear this training. I am so happy that you're a part of this group. I will say one thing, that if you are somebody who is looking to start an online business, you have an idea, you're ready to make it real, you want to do a business, you have some sort of coaching idea or some sort of way that you want to show up online, you have a message, you have a brand you want to build, and you need help with it. That is what I do. I actually have a mastermind that's starting middle of January. We haven't picked the first call date yet, but there's 7 of us. We're really excited to get started, and I'm going to help this group show up online. I'm going to help them build their brand. I'm going to help them put the pieces together. I'm going to help them get through the head junk. I'm going to help them learn from what I learned building my business. And if that's you or somebody you know, and you're ready to get this idea started and you want some help, just send me a DM, send me a message, send me a comment, or comment on this thread. I will message you personally. We can chat and see if that is a fit for you. I only have space for 1 to 2 more people because I want to keep it small so I can help everybody. But we have 6 or 7. We have 7 people in there right now. So I could take on 2 more if that's you. If it's not you, that's okay. Just take this information, use it to help you have a better 2019. And I'm excited to show up yes, Beth is in the mastermind. So excited. I'm excited to show up bigger and better for you guys in 2019. Consistency is my word. I want to have more of these kind of chats with you guys. I'm actually joining my own mastermind, which I'm excited about. So I can't wait to just show up big for you guys this year. That's my goal. That's my mission. And I want to help you guys have an online presence, have the business that you've always wanted to do, have success, abundance, all the things. That's what I want for you. And so that's it for me, you guys. I wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining me on this wild ride. Happy New Year's to all of you guys. Today's the last day of 2018. Reflect, you guys. Spend some time reflecting. Spend some time thinking about what you want for 2019. Where do the shifts need to change? You guys, to have a different year, you got to do something different. So think about that, okay? Where do you need to show up differently? How do you need to show up differently in order to make next year your best year ever? Energetically, I think we're through the shit. And I think 2019 is the year where we all get paid back for these last couple years of what was for our life hell. But I can tell you right now, from the way that this is ending, we're having the best end to 2018 we've had at the end of a year in a long time. And I'm very grateful for that. Very humble, very grateful. So that's it for me, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Love you all. We'll see you in 2019. We'll talk to you soon, guys. Yeah, Lisa says I'm claiming that. See you later, Instagram. Bye for now. Okay, bye, guys.